Picture this. You're flying high above the clouds, but have you ever wondered how airlines choose their flight routes? It's quite the science. First up, airlines look at air traffic. They need to avoid heavy traffic areas to save time and fuel. Makes sense, right? Next, they consider the Earth's curvature. This might sound odd, but flying in a straight line isn't always the shortest route. They often use a route called Great Circle, which is the shortest path between 2 points on a sphere. Lastly, airlines think about wind patterns. Flying with the wind can save a ton of fuel, which cuts costs and helps the environment. So next time you're jetting off, remember there's a lot of thought that goes into your flight path.
Crisp air, clear skies, ideal for flight, right? But when weather turns treacherous, aviation decision-making becomes a high-stakes game. Imagine cruising at 30,000 feet. Suddenly, turbulence strikes, heavy rain, blinding snow, or even a rogue lightning bolt. It's not just about choosing the right path. It's about safety, precision, and split-second decisions. Now, factor in the human element. The pilots. Courageous, skilled, yet susceptible to the same fears and uncertainties we all face. Their decisions, shaped by training and experience, can mean the difference between life and death. Weather, technology, human ability, these are the elements at play when the weather turns dangerous. Remember, the sky is not the limit, it's just the beginning. Stay tuned for more insights into the thrilling world of aviation. Until next time, keep your head in the clouds, but your feet firmly on the ground.
Ever wonder what happens when an airplane stalls? No, it's not like your car stalling at a red light. Picture this, you're soaring thousands of feet above ground and suddenly the aircraft loses lift. Why? Because the angle of attack is too steep, disrupting the flow of air over the wings. But fear not, this doesn't mean a plunge into despair. Pilots are trained for such situations. They reduce the nose pitch, regain speed, and voila, the airflow over the wings is restored. Now here's a jaw-dropper. Stalls can be intentional. Acrobatic pilots use them for maneuvers like the tail slide. Pretty cool, right? So, the next time you're in a plane, remember, a stall isn't a call for panic, but a testament to the marvel of aviation engineering. Fascinating, isn't it? Catch you on the flip side. Cold open. Ever wondered about your rights at airport security? Let's demystify. First up, never be coerced into revealing your password or PIN. You have the right to confidentiality. Second, while security can physically inspect your bags, they can't force you to open your digital files. Third, you can request a private screening if uncomfortable with public pat-downs. Fourth, if singled out for additional screening, it should be random, not discriminatory. Finally, remember, you can always ask why. You deserve an explanation. Airport security isn't a black box. Know your rights, stand your ground, stay informed, end loop. Ever pondered what happens when pilots catch 40 winks in the cockpit? It's not as terrifying as it sounds. Most commercial flights are on autopilot for a good chunk of the journey. But don't be mistaken, it doesn't mean the pilots can snooze off anytime they fancy. FAA regulations allow controlled rest in the cockpit, a short nap to combat fatigue on long-haul flights, always under the watchful eye of a co-pilot. These power naps, typically around 40 minutes, can enhance alertness during the critical phases of flight. Remember, the safety of a flight doesn't solely rely on the alertness of pilots, but also on the advanced tech and rigorous procedures in place. So next time you're jetting off, rest easy knowing you're in safe hands, even if the pilot's eyes are momentarily shut. Ever wonder what's happening when an airplane banks hard? Buckle up, folks, we're diving right in. When a pilot tilts the plane on its side, that's called banking. It's how they change direction mid-flight. Picture it like a car making a turn, only you're thousands of feet up in the sky. Now banking hard means the plane is making a steep turn. The steeper the turn, the stronger the force you feel. That's physics, baby. It's all about balancing the lift, gravity, and centrifugal forces. But don't you worry. Pilots train for years to master these maneuvers. They've got it covered. So next time you're on a flight and feel that tilt, remember, it's all part of the journey. Stay curious, folks, and keep soaring high. Did you know? When a plane's gotta land, but there's no runway in sight, pilots gotta make a tough call and ditch the bird in water. Sounds wild, right? But it's a well-practiced emergency procedure. First, the pilot's gotta slow down the aircraft, keeping it steady as she goes. The aim is to touch down as gently as a feather, minimizing the impact. It's all about finesse. Then, it's vital to keep the nose up just before impact. It helps prevent a nosedive. Remember, it's a water landing, not a dive into the deep end. After a successful ditching, it's time to evacuate. Life rafts, life vests, and inflatable slides come into play here. It's like an unplanned pool party at 30,000 feet. So remember, ditching an aircraft in water ain't just a random act of desperation, it's a calculated move, a testament to a pilot's skill and quick thinking. It's about making the best out of a bad situation. Now that's some real-life action movie stuff, ain't it? Until next time, folks. Imagine soaring through the sky when bam, an airplane engine falls off. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But don't fret just yet, folks. Here's the lowdown. Modern aircraft are designed to fly with just one engine, or even none in some cases. It's called gliding. The plane descends gradually, buying valuable time for the pilots to make critical decisions. Meanwhile, the flight crew is trained for such emergencies. They're working with air traffic control to find the safest route to the nearest airport. And what about the fallen engine? Well, they're designed to break apart in a specific way to minimize damage to the plane. So next time you're on a flight and hear a strange noise, remember, airplanes are marvels of engineering. They're built to handle the unexpected. Stay relaxed, stay informed, and enjoy the flight. Ever wonder what happens when an airplane dumps fuel mid-flight? It's not a casual decision, but a critical safety measure. Picture this. A jumbo jet, loaded with passengers and cargo, suddenly faces an emergency right after takeoff. It's too heavy to land safely. So, what's the solution? Fuel dumping. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like, releasing fuel mid-air. Sounds alarming, doesn't it? But don't fret, the fuel evaporates before it hits the ground, posing minimal environmental risk. The pilot performs this maneuver only in dire situations, following a strict protocol to ensure safety. So next time you spot a plane trailing a misty plume, remember it's not just smoke, but a strategic move to lighten up for a safe landing. Fascinating, isn't it? Keep wondering, keep learning, and stay curious. Cue the drama. Contaminated jet fuel in an aircraft engine? Not a pretty picture, folks. Imagine a fine-tuned machine, suddenly sputtering, coughing up clouds of smoke. This isn't about a minor hiccup, no. It's about an engine struggling, wrestling with impurities. Can it win? Maybe. But it's a high-stakes game at 30,000 feet. So remember, clean fuel? It's not just a preference, it's a necessity. Until next time, keep your heads in the clouds and your fuel clean. A sudden flip, a twist, a turn, and the world outside the cockpit spins. This, my friends, is spatial disorientation, a silent foe of pilots worldwide. Picture this, you're thousands of feet above ground. Earth and sky blur, up becomes down, left turns into right. Your senses betray you mid-flight. Now imagine, gravity and your inner ear are in a tug of war. Your body screams you're diving, yet the instruments read you're climbing. It's a battle between what you feel and what's real. This is no science fiction, but a chilling reality pilots face. Spatial disorientation has claimed many flights. Even skilled aviators are not immune. But with proper training and reliance on their instruments, pilots can fend off this invisible enemy. Remember, in the vast unending sky, it's trust in your tools that keeps you flying right. Stay tuned for more insights from the world of aviation, and remember, the sky is not the limit, but just the beginning. Imagine this. Cruising at 35,000 feet, a plane encounters a heavy storm. Suddenly, water enters the jet engine. What happens next? Contrary to popular belief, the engine doesn't fail immediately. Here's why. Jet engines are designed to handle a lot of water. The water gets heated up to high temperatures and turns into steam, which is then safely ejected out. But if too much water enters too quickly, it can cause a condition known as compressor stall. This can lead to engine failure, but don't worry, pilots are well trained to handle such situations. So next time you're flying through a storm, sit back, relax, and trust the professionals. They've got this. Imagine this, soaring through the sky, destination in sight, but there's a hitch, landing gear, unresponsive. In the world of aviation, it's a daunting scenario, known as a belly landing. But fear not, for modern aircraft are designed for such situations. When the wheels refuse to come out, pilots resort to a checklist of alternatives. Manual override, gravity drop, they exhaust every option. If all else fails, it's time for a belly landing. But remember, the plane's body is built to withstand this. Pilots are trained for this. They'll burn off fuel, lighten the load, and choose the smoothest possible surface. And while it might make for heart-stopping headlines, statistics show that belly landings often result in minor injuries, if any. So, next time you're cruising through the clouds, remember, even when things go wrong, aviation's got your back. Ever wondered what happens when an airplane goes beyond its maximum altitude? It's a concept known as coffin corner. Intriguing, right? When a plane ascends too high, the air becomes thin, causing a decrease in lift for the wings. Simultaneously, the low air density reduces engine performance, but there's more. The plane also risks stalling because the speed at which the airflow becomes turbulent decreases with altitude. So pilots must maintain a delicate balance between flying too fast and too slow. Now let's add another twist. The higher the altitude, the colder it gets. This can lead to icing, which adds weight and disrupts the flow of air over the wings, further increasing the risk of stalling. So while it might be tempting to push the limits, staying within the safe altitude range is paramount in aviation. Remember, it's not just about flying high, it's about flying smart. Picture this, a pilot cruising high in the sky, suddenly confronted by wind shear. What's the move? Let's dive into it. Wind shear, a sudden change in wind speed or direction. It can be a pilot's worst enemy, but with the right tactics, it's manageable. First, the key is anticipation. Weather reports, radar, they're your best friends. Stay informed, stay safe. Second, when wind shear strikes, maintain control. That means adjust your pitch, power up, and don't be afraid to climb. Third, remember this is temporary. It's a battle, not a war. Stay calm, stay focused, and you'll weather the storm. So next time you're up there, remember these tactics. Because when wind shear challenges, you respond. And that is how you conquer the skies. Until next time, clear skies and happy landings. Ever wondered what happens when an airplane goes beyond its maximum altitude? It's a concept known as coffin corner. Intriguing, right? When a plane ascends too high, the air becomes thin, causing a decrease in lift for the wings. Simultaneously, the low air density reduces engine performance, but there's more. The plane also risks stalling because the speed at which the airflow becomes turbulent decreases with altitude. So pilots must maintain a delicate balance between flying too fast and too slow. Now let's add another twist. The higher the altitude, the colder it gets. This can lead to icing, which adds weight and disrupts the flow of air over the wings, further increasing the risk of stalling. So while it might be tempting to push the limits, staying within the safe altitude range is paramount in aviation. Remember, it's not just about flying high, it's about flying smart.